All right, I guess it is the deep breath before the plunge for globalers. That's right. Hello, everyone. It is time to talk not about Final Fantasy VI. Get that the hell out of here. Because we need the correct character on the screen. It is Final Fantasy VII collaboration time. And before I get too far into this video, there is a little bit more JP news, which I am going to cover very quickly. And also, this week on live streams, I am not playing card game. I am only playing Wotv on Wednesday when the new update drops. For those of you curious and are wanting, well, guess what? We're going to be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate this week to do, with the pack that Global is going to be getting this. So look forward to those streams. And not only that, but we're also going to be playing some Final Fantasy X on stream. So thumbs up to all of that. I am just really getting burnt down on Wotv, and some old Final Fantasy, I think, is the correct here. All right, swapping into JP news very quickly, we have a couple of things. First of all, class match is coming back. We already talked about our new units of Dea and Howlet coming to the game. Dea being free, Howlet being a 100 cost gacha. Also, the map for Arena will be focused around ice, specifically defense and magic up. And last but not least, this, which is a new thing, polishing sand, I guess is what we're going to be calling it until I find out whatever globalers are going to call it, but it has to do with runes, and I don't know, more details when it comes out. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the honest thing. I could potentially explain, and then maybe I get some stuff wrong in this video, which is always a bit of a concern, just in case I mistranslate something. And I'm not 100%. I usually like to get my hands on these systems and try them first before I make that video. So here's the real thing. You guys don't really want to hear this because it's the rune system, and everybody hates the rune system, so fuck it. You know what? Moving on from the rune system, let's talk really quickly about what is coming to Global this week, which is basically your last week before you get into the big anniversary, the 3rd anniversary. Sorry this is so tiny. It just, for whatever reason, appears on Mozilla this way. So FF7 Remake is coming back. So the collaboration will return Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, a Tower, a Promise, a Scorpion, a Sentinel card. So a bunch of stuff is essentially coming back, and this is before Sephiroth and Yuffie come back. Now, I feel like I've covered all of this stuff, but you know what? Here's a little quick thing. First of all, from the east to Horn, a Gun, Fist, and Mace BC, which is missile attack resistance, dexterity, area attack, agility up. It's all fine for Mashuri Winter and Queen Mashuri. One of those two is probably more important than the other. But anyway, the big thing is Final Fantasy VII coming back and whether any of this stuff is worth your consideration, because of course Sephiroth is coming back and the reincarnation system is coming very shortly. I think it has a different name on Global, but I don't remember what it was. I remember reading it on the Reddits, and I wasn't sure if it was a joke or if that's what the actual name they were going with. So, moving on, let's talk about each thing really quickly and whether or not it's worth it. First off, Cloud 140. Cloud, I think, is actually pretty good. He's still used by some people as on PvP teams. His upgrade is generally pretty good, especially even with his 140 and everything like that. I think it is all really fine. And that's the problem, because fine is adequate sort of thing, but there are a ton of characters and not enough resources to go around. So unless you are a lightning person who's skipping a lot of lightning stuff in the future, probably not necessarily the character that you should be upgrading. I think you can get by just fine with and saving for Resnick, Skahal, and swimsuit Helena, saving even for Lightning and Viga and Alphonse in the future. There's a lot of different characters that I put ahead of Cloud, so unless it's really burning a hole in your pocket and you really just want to get like brush against the other whales or compete against whales, then that might be the only reason that you're really going to upgrade Cloud. It's a perfectly fine upgrade, but the problem is that for free to players, you're not going to get much resources. If it follows JP trends, you're going to get very few resources. So this may not be the character you want to upgrade, unless you've gone already full in on Cloud and you just really like him as a character, then it's fine. But speaking of characters that are probably not worth going all in on, let's talk about Barret, because Barret, as you can see, I 140'd him. I 140'd him as a kind of, hey, resources won't be that limited, surely. And then, guess what? Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, resources were much more limited. And I'm not the only one. Barret was also 140'd by Beechin, who is someone I focus on videos, and he always throws in like a match of just ice range with Barret. Barret's, again, okay. I mean, I think, you know, his update with 140 and everything makes him generally just better overall and makes him more capable of doing what he was originally supposed to do, like he was advertised as a tank, and then that just didn't really happen. So yeah, is Barret worth a 140 after all my time with him? No. If you have Alaya and Eliza, then just keep using them and upgrade Barris, upgrade Reagan, upgrade a ton of other ice characters that are coming in the future that are absolutely fantastic and deserve a 140. I don't think Barret makes the cut. Next up is Aerith, everybody's sweetheart water healer user. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I think that this is one of the characters I would put up on the higher spectrum of better characters, because water magic has done pretty well for itself with Amnelis and whatnot, and you can make a pretty darn good defensive outlasty team with a combination of like Eris, Celeste, and Amnelis, or you know, Miranda or something. This isn't the worst character to 140, but I wouldn't say that it's the highest priority in terms of a water main like Amnelis. I'm going to say Sephiroth, but that's not quite accurate. Astrius and Preen are all characters that I think deserve 140s way sooner than this. If we're just talking about URs, Aerith is eventually, you know, a good character if you're going down the water magic route, but essential for day one, not even close. And last but not least, Tifa, who's actually one of the ones I'm going to put the highest on the recommendation list for a couple of reasons. First of all, Wynn doesn't really get many 140s that are incredibly valuable for a fair amount of time. It was a while till June got it. Like Glassy hasn't seen hers, and neither has Sadali. And Rizzle, the Wind Dagger character, will definitely get her 140. But in the meantime, Tifa's actually just really good as a 140. I think she's held on to her value very well. Also being, you know, getting like Strike as a damage type, getting so much support with so many good vision cards, like the agility vision cards, the attack up stuff. Like they're real. And I gotta stop saying like Tifa fits really well onto a Strike team, and that is good enough for the highest recommendation, I think, of all the FF7 characters. Like, Barret is kind of fun, and Mimi Cloud is perfectly good and a good DPS, and I'm sure some people out there want to fight Sephiroth with a Cloud kind of thing, so go for it, sort of. Eris is really good for just as a water healer, and that's a good long-term value because there really aren't that many healers that show up in this game. There are far more DPSs, but Tifa holds a kind of better spots, I think, for upgrading into 140 out of all the FF7 characters. I think over the long term, she's the one that I feel the most impressed with the longest, if we're talking about the 4 characters that are returning. So for people who are wondering about polls of these old characters, I would put Tifa as the #1 highest priority. Also, she's the free character, so great kind of thing. Second, I would put Aerith maybe, but really depends on your element and whether you're hurting for healers and what your game plan is. Cloud and Barret. I think all 3 of these characters are kind of equal in my mind for their success and failures. Like, none of them have been breakout insano, but Tifa has kind of, like, going up against her 140, because as you can see, mine is still 120, has resulted in some surprising losses for me. So you can never underestimate a strike character, and I think that with the kind of power, if you're looking for to do the strike thing but more of a budget version, because hey, guess what? You may not want to do Alphonse and Edward and Snow and like all of these like limited or other Fist characters. Like, you may want to just have Tifa. In that case, I'd say definitely there is something there. But switching gears for a little bit, we'll talk really quickly about VCs, because there are, of course, the Final Fantasy VII old VCs and whether or not they're worth it. And here's the thing with Tifa's. No. Because Tifa is, I mean, the only reason that you would want this VC maxed is if you're still going to be running her in a win team, but I honestly think that there's a lot of merit to Rainbow Strike teams. They can sometimes just do really good wins in combination with like Preen and all of that. Like, there's a lot of different stuff that you can do. So as such, a elemental win strike VC is just not quite as valuable. That's why I chose to leave it as is. And I think that this one is not something that you should spend your resources on unless you really want the win team. But I think you can just do some job VCs nowadays with some of the stuff that's come out and just be pretty much as strong, if not stronger. Because you look at some VCs like this one, which is a 50% attack VC for strike units, and this is a free one that came with Full Metal Alchemist. There's a lot of good stuff. The 18% agility card that comes with Full Metal Alchemist. Hell, you can even do Tifa and Edward on a team, and that's just really, really strong. So don't think it's worth it. Now, the other VC, the Guard Scorpion, is a higher recommendation, because if you're doing Thunder Physical, this is just a valuable VC. Also, you get the Esper. Now, more recently on JP, there has been a new Thunder Esper. This one, as a matter of fact. He is definitely a good one, and he comes on a 70 cost VC, so that is, comparable to Guard Scorpion. But both Guard Scorpions is a little bit less offensive, and therefore I think that a 50% attack VC is always just generally pretty good. So for recommendations for old FF7 stuff, I'm going to say just a minor detail. Okay, I'll look at that later. But yeah, in terms of FF7 stuff, I would say that Tifa is the highest priority, which is great. You don't have to worry about gacha at all. And I think she has the most intrinsic value of the old FF7 characters. But hey, this isn't like these characters are bad thing. I think all of them are good in their own right. And I think you'll be quite happy raising each or whichever one you choose. But Tifa's the best. And the Guard Scorpion card is better. And guess what? Sephiroth is coming, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of impact he makes on global. Very short amount of time. Thanks for watching. Maybe see you on the live stream.